Mhm.
Yo, so I just want to point out this is therapy for us all. Like week in, week out. We look forward to it.
Listen,
Fellas,
it's
it's
just
gonna be
so,
one of them nights.
it's going to be, I'm telling you. Man, another Tuesday night at 9, Prototype Dad in the building. What's going on, fellas, man? It's good to see everybody. Full cast today. We ain't had the full squad up here in a minute, man. It's happy to all be
Said
back
ain't
together.
so. They didn't put the band back together.
But, man, yeah, man, let's go over the weekly news real quick, man. What you think about these policies that these candidates are spewing out? It's like I feel like they're copying each other back to back now. Like what's going on with these policies, man? Like what you thinking about, Leaper, when it comes to voting and just keep it surface level. I know how you be.
Man, I ain't even got nothing surface level, man. I ain't even been following these goddamn these goofies lately because I just got a bad taste in my mouth, as of late. So I ain't really been paying attention to too much of it. And
Yo, can y'all hear me?
until they come up with a specific uh agenda for black economic empowerment, I really don't care. Like I don't really care what nobody is saying, man. And then whether that starts with us and putting out an agenda and them saying, okay, we agree to agenda, whatever it may be, that's where it begins and ends with me. And I don't want to hear that, well, whatever works for everybody else will work for the black community. It hasn't worked yet. So, you know what I mean? I need something specific. I need you to earn my vote. And don't think that it's guaranteed.
I think the fact that we have the only thing I hear us saying is a unison, and only us saying is a unison, maybe because this is our think tank, is reparations. But other than that, I feel like it's like asking a woman what she want to eat. Ain't no, we ain't coming up with no answers. We're like, we don't know, or we don't have no definitive answers on what we want from candidates other than reparations. And we're like, well, y'all ain't getting that. So
Well, I have concrete, specific things that I would like to see from candidates. I mean, reparations is a nice thing, but that's more about uh the economics of it. You know what I mean? Like I was saying, that's like you're repairing what you broke, what you broke down by way of giving back and to an economic base that you took from, and that you built the country off of for free. So that's where it starts with me, but even in terms of, when we're talking about property, being able to have, pipelines to property, pipelines to prosperity in the black community where you are, where we're prioritizing financial literacy, you know what I mean? Where we're teaching people from the ground up how to get there step by step, and you're putting something in place that will allow them or give them access, especially in these impoverished areas, where you'll give them access to knowledge to be able to build upon to create economic prosperity for themselves. Well, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that I think about, in terms of, where we can shift the culture and we can change that. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to per se go only to black Americans, but it can be available to that impoverished population. And typically, when we speak about the impoverished population, they're not the only impoverished population. However, it seems like when it comes to information, they're the last ones to get it. So, having that pipeline of prosperity, giving that information, I think that that's something that I would definitely want from a candidate that would earn my support.
what you got, Mo?
Man, that's real. Trust me, I echo all those sentiments. And I would really like for a lot of that stuff to happen. But I think there's what, and it's something I used to always say at work. I was like, I let's have an on ramp to prosperity. Like we're just like we aren't even prepared at this point. So like small things like just giving us equal funding to education for our kids, for our babies, equal health care, a certain level of healthy food options. Like a lot of stuff did like, man, you know, granted, and sometimes we always talk about it like we're in our own little bubble, but man, there's certain sectors of people that look like us, man, and they're in food deserts and man, they're just cut off from a good education. I always remember going back. When I used to go down to New Orleans a lot, I used to hear about how bad their education system was. And I was like, well, that's, you know, I was like, well, that's y'all, but no, like it's systematic. So, you know, like, and I had been going down there so long, like I would notice that how they were funneling money back into Bourbon Street and they were trying to do that. But the people who had been there, who waited out the storm and stuff like that, man, they starved them out. And that's when I was like, yeah, this is systematic. This isn't by happenstance. And this isn't by coincidence that the money is going to certain places and not making it to the others. So even if it's something, you know, I know we're talking about restorative justice. I would love to get there at some point. But in the interim, even if we just got, you know, our in real estate terms, our pro rata share or our fair share of the taxes and of our fair share of the money that should be coming to us. Let's say our population is 13%. What if we were just earmarked 13% of everything? That like those type of things like would be an on-ramp to prosperity. Wholeheartedly, I would love to actually have, you know, kind of be made whole. But until then, I mean, we need to just, you know, we need to kind of work our way to that. So, but I totally agree. And then there's some things that we need to do without it being a handout. Like I think there's some stuff internal in our communities that we need to do. Like I think we need to do a better job with character stuff, our values, in putting the right priority on the right type of things to be able to have a stronger community and to build that type of a community that we want to have in the future. So there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes into it. But you know, us talking about the political scene, yeah, like I mean, at this point, man, I don't really, I hate to even say this, but I don't really have much hope for this political cycle, at least this presidential cycle. Man, they're out here giving us chitlins. Like, I mean, we did talking about $2,500 for, you know, the close on a house, or no, I'm sorry, 25,000, I believe it was 25,000 for down payments on a house. But folks don't have jobs that can actually secure a big enough loan to get a starter house at this point. So, like, there's just a lot of stuff that, you know, too little, too late for the stuff that they're offering. So, you know, and I go back to we were talking about, and it's not just us, because I remember Ice Cube actually did, it was I want to say it was the contract with Black America. He actually did this last cycle. And, you know, so there's stuff there. It's just that, you know, not that I'm picking a side, but the Democrats didn't even give him a meeting to discuss it. At least Trump actually gave him a meeting to discuss, and he implemented some of the stuff into his plan and stuff like that. But with that being said, I mean, we got a long way to go, and we need to start taking like baby steps to actually be prepared to get kind of some of that restorative justice when we start talking about, you know, financial independence and stuff like that.
Hey, where you at with it? Hey.
Yo, I was having some audio issues. So can you repeat the question?
What do you think about the political race at the moment?
Oh man, I'm not. Yeah, I kind of stand with Mo better on that one. Like we getting chillings on this. We honestly, politically, I feel like America has become the world's like the laughing stock of the world when it comes to like our political leadership. I feel like we've taken a turn in a different direction, but it's a microcosm of how we act or are thinking of America to have those two candidates as our top choices out of everybody in the country. I think that says a lot about where we at in America as a society, as a way of thinking, and where we're going as people. Because I mean, honestly, like there's not much to choose from. To be honest, I don't think we have. I don't think it's been this week. It hasn't been this week in my lifetime that I've ever seen. I mean, even if you go back to the Ross Perot days, and like, you know what I mean, when he was really running as a joke, but it's almost like it's two Ross Perots in there right now. It's like it's like almost like it's a joke, like it's a parody, and you listen to them go back and forth, but they're not even attacking the issues, right? They're just attacking each other. It's like I'm not as bad as him. He like, oh, I'm not as bad as them. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those. I don't think at this point we're seeing that we're not going to win. At least they used to try to hide it, but at this point it's almost like I don't think us with the people will win either way.
No, that's a good point, man. I'm right there with you. The fact that we do have these two running, and we're talking about, we're not even talking about policies for. We're talking about is this person black or not? You know what I'm saying? Like we're talking about women can't do this, or we're talking about how old Trump is, or you know what I'm saying? We're not even talking about their mindset or what they're actually coming up with, and it's.
Yeah,
But
it's all identity politics. It's really sad.
What's crazy about it though is they're not combating it either. They're falling right in to the stupidity. Like, hey, let's refocus. Let's talk about what's important. It doesn't matter what you know what I'm saying. So, but that's all I ever heard, and I think we talked about it before, where you know, a lot of the sentiment is like older black people. You know what I'm saying, like the upper unks at this point. Unks older than us, you know what I'm saying? Like they still have racism on their mind real hard. So for some reason they're like, "Oh, Trump's still a racist," and she at least she's black. She ain't gonna do us like Trump is. And I'm like, but she not. All right. You know, you just gotta put your hand down and walk away from the conversation.
So like the biggest thing that I'm hearing is like this whole. And it pisses me off a bit because it's not really about the issues. It's not really about what they can do for us in America. You know, I'm hearing from a lot of people, and you know, I'm getting into debates, and I'm not even trying to be in debates. I'm just trying to be left alone about, oh, well, aren't you happy and you know elated about this will be the first woman of color and the first woman president and I was like, you getting so lost. And I said, yo, every time there's an uproar or something, they throw you something that'll be a first to take your mind off what the real issue and the real problems are. And I'm like, I'm tired of being thrown crumbs. Like, stop throwing me a crumb. Oh, we'll give you the first black president, but we won't allow him to do nothing. We'll give you the first, woman president. We won't allow her to do nothing. Well, you know what I mean? Stop throwing bull crap at me. You know what I mean? Throw something of substance. Actually lay out a plan that makes sense, that actually builds economic prosperity for the people in the country. Like, do something like that and stop giving me this bull crap. Like, I don't care about these what do they call it? These token victories. Like, I don't care about all these token gestures where it's like, oh, this is the
symbolism.
first.
It's all symbolism.
Yeah, all this symbolism. I don't care about this first. Who cares? You know what I mean?
So do y'all remember we talked about this on a previous episode? Like, we were like, is that still a flex that you're the first blacks? Like, we talked about this. This was probably a year ago.
Yeah.
And we were like, is this really still a flex? Like, I hate to say we're so far removed that doesn't excite us as much as it used to. Yeah. We're like, okay.
And I think my answer on it, I think my answer on that episode was, yeah, it's still a flex. And now I'm just like, okay, it's a flex, but then what? You know
that's the evolution of it. Yeah, that's the evolution of it. So, just because you look a certain way, okay, well, what are you gonna do that your actions are that you're with that group of people? You know what I mean? Like that should be that second foot dropping that I'm not seeing. It's all identity politics. Oh, she's a Divine Nine. She was Greek. Oh, she went to HBCU. Okay, great.
Hey, I think also. I think also to Kev's point, to the point, right, that was made earlier. The older voter you're watching the change of the voters themselves, right? Like the older voters aging out, and now this year you're trying to attract a different voter who gets the information CNN, all that's starting to fade out also. Like right now, everybody's being fed with clicks, right? YouTube, everything's going to clicks. Instagram is clicks. Like TikTok is clicks. So everybody's getting their information in a 30-second cycle, right? And now you can manipulate the information better. It's different. So all they're doing is getting enough just for an opinion. They're getting a small opinion, a small portion of the information. And so that's what they're targeting, because most of them are led based off of what they like, right? More than being an informed person or an informed voter. They're going to go at what they like because that's what they do on Instagram or any other social media. They get what they like, right? You know what I'm saying? That instant gratification. They're not getting all the information like they do. So now it's easy to manipulate them. You know what I mean? You can manipulate them with small clicks.
Hey, you making a very good point. I never thought about that. Because it's all they're looking for, the best soundbite. And what I've noticed is maybe they're not even really working for our vote anymore. They're washed. Why are we worried about them anymore? Like, they're talking about issues. Like, whereas a younger voter is more like, did you see that they brought Megan Thee Stallion up on, the podium? Or did you see that at the DNC convention, did you see for Georgia, they did, Lil Jon? And I was like, I don't remember that being a thing when we were kids. Like, it seemed like they were more presidential back then, but
it's more entertainment. Like,
it's made, yeah.
It's about more entertainment
now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what y'all feeding with yourself with? Lee?
Good question, man. It's been a while since well, at least feels like a while since the last time we've been on here, man. I've been through at least 4 or 5 audio books by then. Like I was giving my man Mo the big up for during one of the episodes he had inadvertently mentioned Unfuck Yourself, and I was like, and it kept coming up on my in my Audible feed, and I was like, you know what? And I had some free credits. I got it, and yeah, it's pretty dope read. And the best part of it is like the dude who wrote it is like a Scottish dude, so he's the orator, like doing a dictation of it. So you get this whole what Highlander Duncan MacLeod type voice, speaking through the whole thing. So that's pretty dope. So that one. I was, got into this book, a workbook called the Set Boundaries Workbook, man, and it's basically giving you, it's practicing exercises on, setting healthy boundaries and limits. You know what I mean? And so that's something that's big, because that's one of the things that I've been trying to implement more in my life. Setting healthy boundaries and just saying no and sticking to it. And the last book that I'll give, there's a few more, but the last book that I'll give is one that is called Get Out of Your Own Head. And it's about stopping the spiral of toxic thoughts and, allowing yourself to ruminate on bull crap that, sending you into a space of anxiety. So that's another one that I've been I finished it a few weeks ago, actually, but, that was a pretty good read as well.
What you got, Mo?
So for me, I know I probably mentioned this last time we were together, man. Like this time of year, I don't like a switch goes on, man. I don't want to say my brain turns off, but I get in football mode. Like I hadn't really been focused on kind of the academia part of it, but there's a couple things that kind of stuck out and it peeks through because it's that important to me. But I've been reading a book in. I kind of got it from Leifer as far as how to go about it, because I've literally been reading the book and doing the audio book, like in order to get myself through it. And it's called Let Me Teach You How to Be Rich. Man, it's pretty dope, man. And a lot of it, to be honest, man, because I'm into that type of stuff, a lot of it was stuff that I knew already, but it actually made me take action. Like, for example, like one of the best things you can do for your future is to get a Roth IRA. I've known that for probably 20 years. Never did it. And the reason it's so dope and the reason I'm gonna definitely give this gem is because this is how it made sense to me. Like if you would have put money anywhere else, like you would have put it in a 401k or whatever, like it's it's pre-tax money, but eventually it's taxed. It's just tax deferred. So eventually they're gonna tax it. Whereas in a Roth IRA, it's zero taxes because you already taxed on it. You take it and then you can put this money in this account and then you can just save it forever. And then once you get to that, I think it was 59. Don't quote me. I believe it's 59 is when you can kind of start withdrawing it. And it's taxed. It's already taxed. It's not going to be taxed again. So that's the money that you're really going to be able to really live off of. And that's why they have a limit on it. So as of right now, it's $7,000 a year that you can invest in going into the futures. And then now, granted, it can compound because obviously you're putting $7,000 each year because it goes up. That number goes up 500 per year. But by being able to do that will allow you to kind of create that nest egg and be able to live off of, because you might have, you know, a 401k and you're like, oh, I got $200,000. By the time we 55, 60, who knows what the tax rate's going to be? Man, they're going to chip off that real quick and you're going to be like, oh, I don't have what I thought I had. Whereas you know exactly what you're going to have with this Roth IRA. So I implore everybody to do it. And the sooner the better, because, you know, $7,000, you just keep, you know, think about it. If I'd have started at 23 when I first started working, if I'd have just been doing it, man, who knows what I'd have had by now, but better late than never. But so that's definitely kind of what I've been reading, kind of when I'm on the bike and then whenever I would drive my daughter to school. And then the other thing is, it's just because it's so interesting to me, man, I've been really getting into like the ins and outs of the SAT and the test taking and stuff like that, because my daughter's going to be taking it in October. So it's almost like I'm going through it again. I don't know why, but like, I can't take it for her, but I'm just trying to be informed enough to give her little nuggets and stuff like that. And one of the things that I always say to her is, man, let's go ahead and be prepared so you don't have to be nervous. So if you're prepared and then you execute, you only have to take it one time, you're done. And then you don't got to worry about it no more. So those are the two things that I've been kind of feeding myself with. And then, you know, the kind of other stuff that I just been kind of consuming online, just podcasts and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm sure we're going to get into it, but I've been really consumed with this Cam Newton interview. And that's really intrigued me. The dynamics around family and money. So that's going to be a good one.
What you got, Hit?
Man, so damn, I feel bad that I really don't have nothing to bring to the table on that one. But I've really been studying some of these DOT rules. I got a DOT audit. Well, it's actually starting. It's pending now. So I've been really just trying to figure out DOT, trying to figure out like what's going on in the industry, because a lot of the bigger companies are choking out a lot of the smaller companies. So I've been just reading up on that, trying to figure out how to maneuver. I got mandated a book that I got with me right now from the plantation that we got to read to one of the regional guys. You know, so he was like, you know, basically, if you want to, you know, like it was optional, but you know, you don't want to be the one that didn't read the damn book. So it's called The One Thing. I actually never started the book. I'll do it like 2 days before, and I'll figure that out. But it's called the One Thing. And as far as like podcasts, there was actually a interview with DJ Academics and Sauce Walker that was captivating. I think all men should watch that one. Like I made my son watch it. Because I think it was that powerful when it came to like talk about how we overvalue the vagina. But that's it.
So for me, I've been tech heavy. I don't know if you know our viewers know, but you know I'm a software developer, and a new version of my platform came out. So catching up on the new release of .NET 8, man, and it's a little overwhelming. There's a lot there with authentication and all types of. I don't really want to go too deep in the weeds, but no, that's kind of what I've been doing, you know, since the coaching thing kind of came to a halt. Just trying to get back into my craft the way I need to be in it. You know what I mean? Coaching takes so much away from what you can do financially. When building equity, getting money, it takes so much off the plate. You know what I mean? Because You literally need your life to coach and mentor and be around these kids because you don't want to cheat them. You know what I'm saying? So kind of how think about how you're taking the SAT, you're studying the SAT because your daughter's taking it. I'm studying the game because I got 20 other kids I got to feed it to. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I got to be responsible for all these different kids to get different aspects of the game based on their level. You know what I'm saying? So it's such a relief to not be that. Like, you love doing it, right? But to not have to do it, what am I doing with all this free time? I kind of, you know what I'm saying? Remember how, like, out of season, we start getting in trouble if we don't use it the right way. Like, man, I got practice today.
Now, one thing that I will say, and I wonder if you'll agree with it. Like, it should give you a level of reverence and a higher level of respect for the people that coached us and mentored us, because think about what they took away from their family, from their kids, pouring in us. And I would imagine your dynamic is probably way different than the coaches who was, coaching us. We needed something totally different than probably what the kids that you're coaching needed. No? Okay. So, like I like looking back on it, like I have such a level of respect. Like we were talking about, a couple episodes ago, we were talking about Dr. Berkeley and stuff like that. And the level of respect, like I already, I already had the utmost respect for the man, but the level of selflessness that he gave to be kind of the community dad, man, it really, really hits home now that you have a family of your own and there's not enough hours in the day to get done what you want to get done.
Right. So let's get into that though. Now that you kind of talked us right into the topic, right? Is the transitioning point from being big homie, big bro, from young knucklehead to big homie or big bro, however your people call you, and then transition into unk mode. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a different responsibility placed on me now that I had a birthday just passed. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like 41 is like, I'm responsible for some people, not just me now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I mean, you guys kind of all got there already. Hits on his way. You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about the transition, or talk about the different manhood titles that you have and your responsibilities in those modes? What you got, Lee?
It's a good question. I don't get the unk too much, man. I get the old head a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah, I get the old head a lot.
Wait, so can we rank these? Because is the old head on top of unk?
I don't even know.
Where's that?
Yes.
I think it is, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Unk is like that's a new term though. Old head is like you got the OG. I think OG is the oldest. You got OG. You know what I'm saying? Like OG is like 60 and up. You know what I'm saying? And then
so
you got
old head is what? 50?
Old head is like 40 and up. I think that's 40 and up.
I feel like old head is like 55. Like old head, like.
I mean, I guess it depends on the age of the person that's calling you an old head.
It depends on your energy, and it depends on your energy.
Yeah. So I get that a lot. I get old head a lot. I don't get uncle a lot. I mean, for my nephew, like for my real nephew, you know what I mean? He called me uncle, whatever. But and a couple of my little neighborhood nephews call me uncle too. But yeah, I mean, I think though all those titles definitely come with a responsibility, man. And I always try to pour into the youth a lot, and I don't always try to be like I try to meet them where they are. So I don't try to be like this ridiculous authority figure who is, got it all figured out and who is above the bull crap. Like, nah, you know what I mean? I just try to, I try to be cool. I'm here to listen, you know what I mean? And guide through whatever stuff, you're going through, or, try to give you little jewels and things like that. So, that's the type of stuff that I be on. And I try to just, be there in the community to create opportunities for them to be able to move around. You know what I mean? Like, where we from. So, they be trying to shut everything down. For a time period, they had the playground all messed up. They took the rims down from the hoops, and you know, and all of that stuff down there, man. I fought to get that stuff back, you know what I mean, to make sure that the kids in the neighborhood had somewhere to be able to go safe. Because at the same time, they took all of that stuff down from the playground, took the swings away, all of that stuff. The frame was there, but the swings wasn't there. The hoop was there, but the rims wasn't there. You know what I mean? So they got all, basically you laughing in everybody's face, like, oh, it's here, but you can't play with it type stuff. And while the kids, they ain't got nowhere to go, so they doing stuff in the neighborhood to entertain themselves. Sometimes they might be breaking somebody's car window, or, you know, deflating somebody's tire, or stealing something. But you mad at them for doing this stuff, but you eliminated all their recreation in the community. So, yeah, I mean, I fought to get a lot of that stuff back in the community, get them to renovate it, put some money into these spaces for the kids. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's the type of stuff that I try to do. You know what I mean? That I guess, you know, got me old head status, and I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? I don't mind being old head, man, especially, you know, if I'm keeping these young kids out of trouble, or at least, you know what I mean, showing them something different. You know what I mean? Because they see how I'm moving. You know, while they at the playground, you know, shooting hoops, playing whatever, man, I make sure they see me over at the garden, you know what I mean, which is right across the street. I make sure my presence is felt during the summer. You know, I'll buy, you know, big old cases of potato chips and snacks and stuff. I got like a little pantry, like a little outdoor pantry or whatever. I'll fill that stuff up. I'll fill it up with snacks and stuff. The kids know what's over there. They come out during the summer, and, you know, they getting chips and drinks and different things like that, you know. So, you know, that's what I try to do. Try to make my presence felt in the community. And, you know, I don't take it as no disrespect, man. I love it.
You got Mo?
No, that's dope, Lee. And that was exactly what I was referencing when I said, like, your energy and what you're giving off. So it's giving off, like, that's what, you know, people older than you generally do. So it's just a level of respect. But as y'all was talking, man, I kind of put down kind of the transition, and at least for me, how I transitioned from these different roles, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 5 of them. And for me, the first one I put down was Big Bro. And Big Bro was, you saw me on the BS. Like, you saw me. I was, you know, you wasn't necessarily with me, but you saw me, or you heard that I was, you know, doing whatever. But I'm like, that ain't for you. You know what I mean? I'm still like, oh, chill, that ain't for you, right? So because of who I am, I got away from that early, because I saw that, look, I just escaped it. So I was like, y'all might not. So don't do that. So I got out of the Big Bro phase. Like, by the time I left where I'm from, by the time I went to college, I was like, Big Bro was over for me. I don't really want to do that no more. Next was Big Homie. Big Homie was, I'm doing something that, like, you couldn't even fathom that you would be doing. Like, I didn't even realize I was going to make it to that. Or maybe if I do, like, it's going to be rare air for me. And so that's when I was coming back from college, and I'm like, yo, like, yeah, y'all doing whatever on the field or whatever, but, like, do y'all got y'all grades right to where you can actually come to school and play some ball and then, you know, change your life? Like, that was the kind of the Big Homie stuff. I was doing that in college. I'm coming back and I'm telling boys, like, you know, you could go to college and do this. You know, you could change your life playing ball. You know that, you know, and then sometimes, you know, because I was still young man in myself, I was still kind of giving them some of the BS in order just to entice them. You know, there's way better chicks in college. You know, there's way more fun in college. You could get into a whole lot more BS than you could here. Like, I was still kind of giving them the carrot and the stick, you know, without giving them the real benefits of it. I was just like, I know they're with the BS here. I'm going to just tell them you could get into a higher level BS here. So that was still kind of the Big Homie stuff. And then the was once I kind of became like a father. And, you know, I literally had people that was like looking at me because they saw me in them other phases and was like, wow, like, you a real citizen at this point. Like, you got a daughter and you bought a house, and they're like, what? Like I remember people, like, because I didn't have social media, people was like, yo, what you really doing down there? Like we saw the house, what you really doing down there? I'm like, I'm working. They're like, nah, what are you really doing? Because, you know, they're thinking that I'm still trying to find a way to, you know, I'm always going to have something, but that wasn't what it was. And then the old head status is when I realized, like, hey, wait a minute. I start thinking about, like, karma, to where the stuff that I'm doing, potentially karma could come back on my daughter. That's when I think that's when my mind changed. I was like, yo, I'm out here doing whatever. Like that was kind of like 30, that 10 years of singleness that I had, 30 through 40, I was basically. And I was like, just doing what I was doing. And about like 35, I would start thinking like, actually, I ain't gonna say it wasn't an epiphany. Somebody told me this. A woman actually told me this and was like, I just hope that your daughter don't run into somebody like you. And I was like, I was so offended that they said that to me.
She was a witch.
I was so offended that they said something like that to me. But to be fair, though, I was two different people. I was Mr. Good Guy, you know, playing father and da-da-da. But then once it wasn't my weekend, who knows what I was doing? So I understood why she felt that way. And I was like, you know what? I was like, that's fair. I was like, I would want to be somebody who holistically my daughter would be proud to be with later in life. And I started having those type of thoughts. It didn't make me change right away, but I started having those thoughts. And then old head, I would imagine that's kind of, kind of where I'm getting now. Like, I don't even like, cause like in those other phases, like I might be teaching you how to do the wrong thing the right way. Now I'm kind of like, I know you're going to do it, but hopefully you make it out of it. It ain't really as fun as you think it is because there's stuff that comes with it, but just be mindful. You know what I mean? I'm not really trying to teach you how to do the wrong thing the right way anymore. I'm like, it's really not what it's cracked up to be, but I'm giving you the leeway to kind of learn your way through it and figure it out. But hopefully you'll get out of it sooner rather than later because it's not worth it. So I'm starting to think about legacy at this point. Like I'm thinking about like, okay, retirement and how my life's going to look when I'm an empty nester. My daughter's off in college and off into, you know, law school and stuff like that. And I can travel as much as I want and I don't have to work. And like, I'm thinking about that type of stuff. Like my life is better than 10-year-old Mo Better could have ever dreamed. So like, I live a life of gratitude at this point. And not only that, like I live a life of almost, like I said this before, survivor's remorse, because I know so many people who didn't make it here. So I'm so grateful to actually make it here. Like, so hopefully I still got another 40, 50 years left in me, but I'm still a very reflective and grateful for what I've made it through and what I've been able to accomplish. And then OG, man, that's going to just be, man, I'm going to be on the porch on the back patio somewhere, you know, like, man, I had a real good run. Hopefully you boys can catch up. You know, hopefully you can do what I did, man, because I lived a hell of a life. So that's my plan for OG. We'll see. And because of that, like I'm actually trying to get healthier because I want to be able to really enjoy this next 40 to 50. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point of, you know, being caked up and, you know, being able to, you know, enjoy it and you in a walker or you got an oxygen mask on you. Like, that's not a life worth living. Like, don't nobody want to hear that story. They're going to be like, man, you done broke your body down trying to get here. No, I don't want that. So I want to be a reflection of the gratitude that I have for my existence.
What you got here?
Yo, so I think like kind of what Mo Better was saying. I think to reach before you make that transition in all of the statuses, right? The work started well before that, because like if you don't, it's almost like to be able to teach, right, the younger generation as you get older, you gotta have something, because they're gonna look at your success. They're gonna look at what you have, and they're gonna gauge your success on what you have, and that's gonna dictate how the message is received. Because you can say anything, you can say, hey, you know, this, you should do this, you should do that, but if they don't see it in you or from you, then they're not really listening. You don't really have that status in their head. So I give you a perfect example. Me and Vic was leaving a party, right? He hit the car, blah, blah, blah. The little dude turned around and was like, hey, man, what you do? He said, oh, he started going back and telling them, oh, I do this, I do that. And then they was like, oh, yeah, we want to do this, we want to do that. They was totally receptive to everything he said because he showed them this is how you get there. I got here, and this is the path you take. I think the worst thing in the world is a person that is an elder still trying to be young, like, or still trying to be on their level, trying to use their slang, trying to relate to them. You know what I mean? Trying to be like their age. They're young. When they look at you, they don't even respect it. They might laugh with you and play with you, but they don't even respect it on that level because they look at you for more. Like, it's okay to say something just to relate to them so they can get the message. You know what I mean? But you also want to show them, like, you know what I mean? You just, like, there's just a certain level that you're at that you want them to get to, or you want to avoid some of the setbacks. And this is why I'm talking to you. So I got the example in my place of work. I watched a dude who's a little older, and the way he with the younger kids, and they clown him behind his back. They be like, yeah, he be doing it, he be doing that. But when it comes to me, everything I talk to him about is a teaching moment. You know what I mean? Because that's what they're looking for. Like, that's how you reach that status. Again, you gotta be able to show it. Like you said, it gotta be physically. You know what I mean? How you took care of yourself physically. You know what I mean? How you took care of yourself financially. How you mature, but you don't get no more because of this. You know what I mean? And if you don't do this, then you can reach this. So I think when we were in our 20s, and you know what I mean, it was coming up, we were making decisions, learn, building, doing the whole thing.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
All right, you hear me?
I can hear you, but it sounds like a robot. You good? You still there?
Yeah, I'm gonna move on. You know, I'm going to go back, but move on.
So I'll go next, and when you can finish up when you know what I mean. But come out, come back in, or go on mute. Hit. But no, so kind of how like Mo said, like, man, he wrote down all his levels, right? I feel like I think the levels, like, you start out as like a youngin, you know what I'm saying? But I think each level has a certain responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, youngin, yeah, you might be doing some wild stuff, but I think your responsibility at that point is to your family, to the ones that are investing in you. You know what I'm saying? Don't let your grandma down. Don't let your mom down. You know what I'm saying? If your people's, like, if your cousins and stuff, is your people supporting you to play ball, play ball. You understand what I'm saying? You might do some stuff and they're gonna understand it, but your responsibility at that point is really to not let the ones that love you down. You know what I'm saying? The ones that are investing in you down. So no, so I think, young in his first level, you gonna get into your trouble or whatever. And then the second level for me would be like big homie, big cuz. You know what I'm saying? You're right there with the youngin, doing everything the youngin is doing. But hey, don't make this turn. You know what I'm saying? You're just holding up on the dangers of what might be happening that you can foresee because you already been a youngin. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still, y'all, we gonna have fun together, but we're just gonna do it this way and not that way, because that way is a crash out. You know what I'm saying? We're not crashing out. We're gonna make it out of this. So yeah, we're gonna go to this party, but when this starts happening, hey, get your stuff, we gone. You understand what I'm saying? So big cuz, big homie, that's kind of the ones that's always there with you, but when to know to pull you out when things are getting a little bit too real, too serious. You know what I mean? Their job is really to prevent the crash out of the youngin. You know what I'm saying? Then you got your big bro, right? That's really the one that's probably like older than, you know what I mean? Like, y'all got a gap. You know what I'm saying? I want to say y'all got like a 10-year gap or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And you do some things with them, but then there's you can tell that you on your own mode too. Like, you might go somewhere with them, but while they over there, you're at, you know what I mean, you're at the cigar lounge part. They might be on the dance floor, but you over at the cigar lounge chilling. You know what I'm saying? They always ask you for advice. You know what I mean? Like, so basically your role as a big bro is to give jewels. You know what I'm saying? Not be detached, but still be attached, but make sure you got the jewels so everybody else can kind of maneuver through. Now, that's where I've been, and that's where I'm transitioning from, moving into Unk. I don't know how Reese hit Unk status at 22, but I'm hitting Unk status at 41. You know what I'm saying?
I've been caring for people. Look, I mean, I've been responsible for people since 1989.
Look, man, I just hit Unk just you know, my facial hair started turning gray. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I officially got the Unk status, man. And the responsibility I feel is kind of like how Leifer was explaining what he goes through now, right? Making sure that you facilitate, you know what I mean? I'm really a teacher of the community. It's not just about me, though. It's like how we said, you know, very episode 1, a prototype dad is a dad to the community. You understand what I'm saying? So when I'm saying these titles or whatever, Unk status for me is I'm not uncle to like my nieces and nephews, of course, but I'm up to the dudes at the basketball court who's about to get into a fight. I got to step into that now. You know what I'm saying? I'm up to, you know what I mean, the kids outside or teenagers and young 20-year-olds. They'd be like, hey, come on, you don't gotta do that. Pull your pants up, bro. Like, chill, be this way. You know, it goes back to the store conversation. You know what I'm saying? Where y'all might have thought I was wrong, but it was still conversation. And hey, bro, like, this is how you should perceive this. Because don't take this personal, XYZ. Make it business, don't make it personal. So that's more of a Unk where I feel obligated to, you know, make sure a misunderstood situation around me gets understood in a correct manner, if I can sum it up. You understand what I'm saying? So I always feel like I gotta intervene, like, you know what I'm saying? If I seen just two young brothers, man, about to squabble, hey man, y'all gotta do that. Like, I feel like that's my responsibility at this point. You know what I'm saying? Making sure the kids got, you know, what they need, icy cups or whatever. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Still tell them some stories like, hey, this is how y'all did it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you shouldn't do this. So that's kind of the responsibility. Now, old head, man, I can't even fathom what I would look like as an old head. But here's what I would say: an old head is still about guiding. You know what I'm saying? And it's about guiding the unks, right? Because the unks are about motion for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're doing stuff. They're a little bit more stable. They're stable people. They're solidified. They got the motion to make things happen. They're about being active. I think old head should be kind of like the guidance. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would say unks like Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? And the old heads is, you know, the king and his pops. You know what I mean? Just making sure, like, hey, yo, y'all should make this play. We should make this play as a community. Like, old heads ain't really doing too much, but they're giving the best plans and layouts. You know what I'm saying? So people can make, you know what I mean, get motion going. Like, get a plan to the motioners. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I feel about old heads and what they should be doing. I'm definitely not there yet. You know what I'm saying? I'll stay a man in motion for, you know, hopefully for the next 10 to 15 years. But transition into an old head later on after that. But y'all good? All right, we got something to go over. I got this clip. Let me get it loaded up.
My situation and not think that I'm not high function.
What situation?
See my situation. That's a very vague question, and it's for you.
What situation are you referring to that they're looking at and thinking is not high function?
Just my life.
Your life entirely, or your life in relationships?
My life.
See, don't deflect. Let's stay here. Your life entirely, or your life in relationships?
Both, really.
And they think that you're low functioning.
No, I don't.
You just said people see your life and think you're not high functioning. The opposite of that would be low functioning.
No. Okay, so here you go. You're trying to take my intentions away from this. Is can I correct it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or can I give you more?
Yes, more information. Heck yeah.
So I'm not married, right? I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
I didn't do my research. I thought it was 4, but 8. Okay.
No, baby.
Cool.
It's
By how
8.
many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more. Now,
By multiple women? What's the intent?
I
I'm
just
saying,
want
or by
God
your
to bring
wife?
them. I just want God to bring them.
Oh, okay. And you have, so you just
Because
bring them,
my
okay.
point is this. My desire to get married
Mhm.
is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you had said, Dr. Brian, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time. Drinking.
Oh man, what's your thoughts on that? What I got for that? What you got, Mo?
So man, like that was like the initial clip that I saw too. So I had to go and watch the entire 2 hours, right? But just off of that clip, I was like, man, Cam was coming off as a goofy to me. That was my first thought. But the more I kind of dug into it, the more I understood there was context that I needed to understand. There was a couple things that kind of came to mind that kind of goes into our conversation that we actually already had tonight. Was, for the record, yes, he is creating broken homes by not marrying these women that he's having babies by. However, it's of that, how we talked about those different levels. Like he's still I feel like he's still in the mode of, if I'm gonna do the wrong thing, I'm gonna do it the right way. Because I actually did some research, and now granted, biologically he only has 6 kids, but there is each one of his baby's mom, I will put it that way, had a kid prior to him that he adopted. That's why he says 8. You know what I mean? So that's him fathering the community. That's him fathering kids that aren't his. So I get that, there's a certain level of, well, he doesn't play by the same rules because he's rich. Okay, fair enough. But to that point, he is creating broken homes. So I totally get that, those kids, it's not maybe the most optimum scenario, but even in that, it's probably better than most. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about what we say, like 72% of Black kids are, being born out of wedlock or not living in the same house. I would imagine he's able to mitigate some of the issues that come with that based on just his money. So it's not pooky behavior, but he's able to probably, and they live with him. Let's keep that in mind too. Those kids live with him full time. So he's able to probably hire in help to kind of do the stuff that he can't or doesn't want to do. So I think that I still think that he's doing the wrong thing the right way, if there's such a thing. But at the same time, let's not crucify the man for trying to figure out or trying to rectify a situation that he poorly created, if that makes sense.
I think that's one of those things where he probably has so much more money than the people around him that nobody's willing to tell him if he's doing wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Because he's feeding everybody. He's feeding his pops, he's feeding his mom. You know what I'm saying? He's feeding everybody, so nobody's telling him. Like he gotta have somebody that he's not feeding and telling the truth. Because although you trying to say that he's doing the wrong thing the right way, which is what level do we call that? That's big homie. That's big cuz. Yep. You understand what I'm saying? Doing the wrong things the right way. I mean, somebody like where's this big bro? Where's his aunt to be like, hey, that's not shit. I kind of agree with her, like when she goes off on, in the next clip we're gonna play. You know what I'm saying? I kind of agree with her. I don't necessarily understand. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with all her sentiment, but what she's trying to convey, I definitely believe that she's right along that line, because it matters. You know what I'm saying? Like it looks a certain way. Anytime you do the wrong thing the right way, it still looks wild. You know what I'm saying? And there's no way around it. And I'm putting a global umbrella on anything you could do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like snorting coke is, you know what I'm saying, in the privacy of your home. And you know what I mean? And you're doing it like, you know what I'm saying? Like you still snort coke, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just one of those things. where like, yes, you could be doing the wrong thing the right way, but you shouldn't be doing that at all. You want to chime in here?
Yeah, I think I think it's a classic saying. A smart person can play dumb, but a dumb person can't play smart. I think that's just the classic line, man. Like when I hear him speaking, and I hear that, I mean, I'm not trying to like attack him, but that's exactly what it comes from. It just comes from like a bad ideology, and you're trying to make sense of something that's probably not the right thing. But again, you have money, and money don't make people nothing but who they are, or more who they are before they had it. You know what I mean? So I just think that's something broken well before the money. I don't think it's the money that's making them do it. But I think he'll be one of the guys that did it even if he didn't have the money. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's more acceptable, and he makes it look better because he does have the money, you know what I mean, to do it. But I mean, if it's something stupid, it's stupid. You can't make it right.
You know, I had a similar situation, and I've apologized to my first kid's mom about making her a baby mama. You know what I'm saying? Like I shouldn't do that. I'm thinking my dream is bigger than yours. And you know, I know essentially what she wanted was to be a wife, but I wasn't giving it to her. But I was like, you should be happy with being my baby mama. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, I'm not Cam Newton, but I understand what you know what I mean? That's he's well into big cuz thinking ideology, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's nothing I can like crucify him for, but like I said, I came to a point where I was like, hey, I want to apologize for making you like I know she's probably done gotten over it, but you know, by the time I came to the point where I should apologize. But at the same point, I was like, I was wrong for, you know what I mean? Because I already knew my intention was to never be there with you. You know what I'm saying? And me thinking that I'm a big, you know, me being a good dad is enough. You know, for somebody to want to have my kid was real asinine. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like this person wants to be a wife.
But he got options. So with the thing about with the money provides access and it provides options. So like it's hard to say if he wouldn't be married if he didn't have the same amount of options, right? You know what I mean? He may not have that philosophy. If like you said, like I don't want to get married because shit, I got mad options. Why would I want to just give all that up and I can have all this? I mean, I think that's a part of that is just being selfish.
I think she talks about that. She talks about. We'll play the next clip. She talks about that being selfish. You know, wanting to have kids and not being married. You know what I'm saying? But what did you say? Because it definitely triggered something I needed to get off. No, I forget. Now let's roll the next clip.
Action-based. You're not taking your time. You're being very action-based.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active. Okay? So you're creating, in disclaimer, the kids are innocent. They are beautiful and amazing. Anything I say has nothing to do with them babies because I can't wait to be a mom and I love the kids, period. But you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence and knowing you thus far. But these families are still broken. Every child cannot have Papa in the house with them. So some child, if not all, will end up with some kind of deficit without daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to go make a baby. Not saying that at all. But those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear. So at what point do you feel the fear, do it anyways? And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior to say that I am going to create these homes. Let me go better. I'm going to build these houses and put kids and these beautiful women and kids in them, but I ain't going to create a home in them. I'm going to wait till I dissipate my fear to find a wife where I'm still going to be fearful with, because there's no such thing as not having some type of nerve or some type of feeling behind marrying somebody who you're spending your life with. And then I'm going to build a home with her while all these other beautiful babies have houses. That's completely unfair and it's selfish.
Just tell me when I can solve.
Yeah, almost. That's completely unfair and that's selfish. And so, yes, you're taking your time in this department, but you're not taking your time in this department, which means you're compartmentalizing. And compartmentalizing never works.
What's your thoughts on that?
So, I mean, I totally agree. I totally agree with her to the point that he was being very action based and it was coming from a place of selfishness. But, and I hate to put the but in there, but we're taking away free will from the other willing participant in these situations. The three women, like, we're not even taking into account that they gave him a baby before they actually got a ring. So they were willing to be a part of this. So yes, it was selfish, but if that's what was agreed upon, what is he supposed to do about that? Like, I'm supposed to take responsibility for myself and this grown person that willingly did this?
Yes. The man's supposed to be the leader, right? He's supposed to lead the household.
And he's leading them his way.
He's leading them right to hell. That's where he's leading them. Right to hell. In a bunch of different broken homes. You know what I mean? Because he can't control his damn dick energy and he can't control his own emotions. Because all he's doing is living in fear. That's all it is. Everything that's happening is boiled down is his fear of divorce. But because you fear divorce so much, you decide you want to create a bunch of auxiliary homes with different children in them, and then
I agree with
and
that.
then you say but I would have been okay partly if he said, I made my mistakes, I did wrong, I'm gonna raise my kids to be productive citizens in this world the best that I can. But he said, I want many more. This nigga crazy. Like, first of all, you didn't even like come up with a great scenario to how you were going to have more. Like, look, I got me a perfect wife. I'm going to bring all my kids into one household and we're going to raise all these kids together. You know what I mean? He didn't say that. He just said he wanted many more kids, you know, however that happened. That is scary to me. And I don't know what kind of household he came up in. I don't know what his history is. I didn't listen to the whole 2-hour podcast, but he is a mess. He's a mess,
pastor, bro.
Yeah, he came up in a nuclear family.
He came up in a nuclear family in a church.
They're still married, right? His mom and dad's still married.
Yeah,
yep.
He's a mess. He's a mess, and I don't know what that's about because, and maybe it's, and I don't know, you know, because whatever the dynamic is with his mother and father, you know, maybe he feels like he can't duplicate that relationship, and everything beyond that makes him afraid of the commitment to try, or maybe he knows the fuckery his dad was doing, and he, you know, he's afraid that, you know, he won't be able to live up to the idea of what the manhood is in his mind, whatever it may be. Everything that has come out of it is there's no way to kind of bullcrap your way to make it positive. Like, bro, you have six different babies, because 6 biological babies, 8 total, 3 different baby moms. It's dysfunctional. There's no way that you can make that functional. Even if he had all 8 kids living in his space, if all three baby mamas ain't living at his space, there's still,
Still
you
broken
know,
homes. Yep.
there's still broken homes and there's still dysfunction and there's still something that each child is missing. And I think one thing that we don't talk about enough is the fact that every child isn't created equal. Every child needs something different. You know what I mean? So maybe that one child needs a little bit more of that, daddy attention. Maybe the next child might need a little bit more mommy attention. Maybe the next child might need a little bit more encouragement. Maybe the next child might need you to, you know what I mean? Like they all need something different. So you got eight. So you got 8 different personalities that you have to try to bring in here. And you're saying you want more? Like, do you know how difficult it is to wrangle in 3 personalities, let alone 12, 13, 14, 15? Dog, that's crazy to me. So, more power to him, man. I don't never want to demean no black man, man. More power to him. But
Listen,
there's no way you're going to explain your way out of that fuckery. Like, it's not a positive way out of that. I don't care how much money you got. That's foolishness.
so I'm not trying, by no means am I trying to justify what he's doing. I don't agree with it. It's not my life. However, I can say from personal experience, I'm a better father not being with my child's mother.
Is there 3 of them? You got 3? You got
But that's
3
what I'm saying. It's
different-
only one. I'm saying it's only one, but I'm just saying I became a better father because I was able to really tap into me and be happy. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, like, so I mean that's just what I'll give that. And I know it's gonna come off as like preachy, but sometimes, man, just because 2 people are in a household, that doesn't make it better. Like maybe you just learn dysfunction within a nuclear family. Like it's just a broken home that's actually together. So, and like by no means am I justifying it, but if it works for them, I can live with it. If it works for them, God, good for them.
Here's what I want to ask. Would you say her mother is a better mother without you?
I would say no, but I don't know if she would be able to say that.
Here's what I'm implying. You became a better father. If this side declined, the child is still getting maybe a deficit, even though you've upped your game. If this declined more, then you've upped it. Then they're still not getting it, right? But if you stayed here and this didn't move, the child will still get better development.
Possibly. I think that in the wrong situation, you can actually do more harm to a child if it just doesn't work. And staying together, like I don't believe staying together for the kids is never ever the right thing. Like y'all should stay together because y'all want to be together and that's the right thing for y'all. And then obviously the kid benefits because of it. But just doing it for the kids and then y'all just ain't happy, y'all ain't getting along, and y'all really ain't even sleeping in the same rooms and stuff like that. Like that's a broken home too. Y'all just are playing house, but it's still a broken home. So and like I don't know Cam's situation personally, but if it works for them, I'm okay with it. It's not optimal, that's for sure.
Do we know that it works for them? And that's my biggest thing. Do we know that it works for them? Because it sounds good. Everything always sounds good, but the implementation is not always as easy as the conversation. So my thing is like,
They don't live in the same house either.
yeah. I get that. But that's my thing. Like, but you know what I mean? How he's saying is like that if it works for them. So they don't live in the same house, but they still co-parent in a way where the kids are seeing both of them at some regularity. So, but my thing is like, so we can say, okay, well, you can have 2 people staying together for the children, it's toxic or whatever. How I would combat that is by saying trying parents are always going to be better than those parents that didn't try, because not only do you teach your kids how to work themselves through adversity, you teach them that they see the bad side, but they also see the good side. You know what I mean? So allowing them to see that and be able to navigate that through the negativity and get to the other end. I think that's a positive thing that can also help in their personal development and relationship for the rest of their lives, man. And I think that's the one thing that a lot of parents miss because things get difficult and they want, well, let's go into a different room. Let's go on a drive. They don't want their kids to see the arguments or the adversity. And I get that because that's nasty and it's ugly. However, being able to see the adversity and then also see how you guys work it out, I think is a part of positive relationship building. Because if they only see the positive in their heads growing up, throughout once they become adults, they say, "Oh, my parents never argued. My parents never." It's bullcrap. It's not reality. They never argued in front of you, and you never got to see that conflict. So now, in all of your life, now you just avoid conflict because that's all you saw. Is your parents avoid conflict in front of you in order to make it seem like it was happier than it was. So my take is like, show them a little bit of that conflict, but also show how y'all work it out so they can see the whole gambit of actions in it. So I think that can work, and not saying it works for every situation. Some situations could become physically abusive, and that's not good for nobody. But in some situations, I think it's good to be able to work through that and show your kids the good and the bad.
I think that's ideal. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Speak your piece,
So,
man.
check this out, yo. First off, we need a buzzer, man. We need like a light, like you know how the media the little hand go up. Yo, we get some hands up in this. Yeah, damn. Hey, I forgot. Hey, look, check it out, man. Because it was really relevant a lot earlier, but that was a really good point. That was a really, really good point about the kids seeing adversity. That does mean to say a lot. Coming from somebody who's seen a lot of adversity growing up with a lot of conflict, with no resolution coming up, and somebody who has kids that was in a separated family. And to Vic's point, I became a way better father, like a way better father, and my child still needed counseling because she was missing something else. She was still broken. So that's a really good point. It was a lot of really good points made. But just to get back to Cam, I wanted to say this for like the last 5 minutes again. A dumb person cannot play smart, man. I'm sorry. It just don't work. It doesn't work. I don't care. And a lot of times we give people passes because we idolize them for different reasons. You know what I'm saying? Because they are the athletes, or they are funny. You know what I'm saying? Or they are good looking. You know what I mean? We bypass a lot of different things that they do. You know what I mean? Because of their status and who they are and what they can do. And that, if you look at that dude's history, he's been doing things that wasn't that right when he got kicked out of Florida. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to bash you. I'm just telling you, if you look at him, he ain't really never been that making great decisions. You know what I'm saying? Other than the fact that he was an excellent player. He was an excellent football player. He really was. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be an excellent person. You know what I mean? And I just think from a standpoint of us being prototype dads and us trying to grow and be men, you can't sit there and use excuses like that to be a selfish dude. Because a lot of dudes that say they don't pay their child support and they think that they got valid reasons why they don't take care of their kids, or they got valid reasons why they do some of the things they do that is totally objective to what we talk about, or what we say and what we build, or we're trying to build our community. So honestly, can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So honestly, I think that whole thing was what we talked about earlier about people wanting entertainment and people trying to go viral. And that's all that was, to go viral. Because I don't even believe even it had to be him wanting this to go viral, sounding that dumb. I didn't even watch the whole thing. But for him to sound that viral, just to go viral, just to be entertaining, or he may really believe that, again, he don't want no help. He ain't trying to get better. It's just something to go viral about. And I think that's another issue that we have in our community is that everybody does it for the entertainment. They do it for the clout, and then what that does is just totally, like I said, goes against everything that we're trying to build within our community, and it goes to the downfall of it. That's all I had to say, man. Thank you, brothers, for your time.
Man, you know, I like to only keep y'all an hour. I mean, we've been going over lately. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
Yeah.
hey, when we cooking, and we just let it run. But hey, that's another prototype dad. Yeah. Peace.